Madam Chair, Minister, welcome to committee. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. You mentioned Stellantis, so we might as well start there with the auto sector. Were you concerned when you saw the testimony last week from your officials that indicated that no one person read the contract front to back before that was signed?
Well, first and foremost, I think we have to put things in context. If you look actually at what was discussed and what my deputy minister at the time said, is that he was not involved in the redaction of the contract, nor was I, of course, because we were not in our positions at the time. As you know, the contract was signed some years ago, and you were not in your position neither. Now, what is clear is we both since then read the contract, and of course I can answer any questions about that.
When was it that you read the contract?
Well, when the issue...
Was it last week? Was it 2 years ago?
Obviously,
it wasn't 2 years ago because you weren't there, but when did you read it?
So when the issue of Stellantis became really important, which was around October 15...
So you read it?
Of course I read that contract because we got a 24 hours heads up from the global CEO saying that they were moving the Brampton Jeep model, well, the Jeep Compass model,
right,
to the U.S. And we thought that that was completely unacceptable. So we got to it, and we found very quickly how to make sure that Stellantis was on the hook.
Right. But the testimony last week was that during the contract negotiations, no single person had a view on that contract cover to cover. Does that concern you?
To be frank, it doesn't.
Well, that was the...
No, but like, you can't negotiate a contract without reading it. That doesn't make sense. Like, just listen to what you're saying.
I don't know. The deputy minister said that the individuals involved would not have had full view of the contract. That was the testimony.
There were many contracts that were involved. Okay. All of those that are already, not only are they available right now, Adam, but they were available 2 years ago. And the opposition, so basically the Conservative Party, had access to it. And you guys also read the contract.
I think they're just getting
so there's nothing new here.
That's okay. So now that you've read the contract, that's fine. You've read the contract. Were you concerned that the jobs guarantee in that contract, or are you satisfied with the jobs guarantee in the contract? Is it anything less than 100% of Stellantis' footprint at the contract was signed?
See, you know what was my reaction when we got the news from Stellantis? My reaction was, we can't open that floodgate of basically our automakers leaving the country. That was my reaction. And my reaction was also to make sure that everybody around this table is one Team Canada, because we're all fighting for the 125,000 jobs in the auto sector. And so I was in fighting mode, and I was finding how to make sure that we would make Stellantis on the hook. What was clear in that contract is that the investments in the battery plants, which are super important, which we stand for and will continue to defend, were linked to the Brampton facility.
Okay.
And that's why we say it's on the hook.
On October 21st, you said in the House, the opposition on the committee will have access to the contracts. They will discover that we indeed negotiated well. Do you recall saying that?
And I stand by it.
Okay. The jobs guarantee in the contract, is it for anything less than 100% of Stellantis' footprint at the time the contracts were signed?
See, what is happening is when you're dealing with an automaker, you know that there will be...
Minister, you're negotiating a contract.
I didn't negotiate the contract, but what I can tell you is that when you look at an automaker over a 10, 15-year period, you know that there will be changes in models. And sometimes during that time, that lifespan, there will be time where basically there's retooling and that basically people are put on pause to then, of course, being rehired. And that is all negotiated with Unifor. That is all negotiated with the unions. And so that is why it was really, really important to have a job number. But what was most important, Adam, and that's my last point, it was to link the protection of Brampton. Because there was a preoccupation at the time, and I wasn't there, you weren't there, but there was a preoccupation to make sure that we would protect the jobs at Brampton.
Is the jobs guarantee in the contract for less than 100% of Stellantis' footprint at the time the contracts were signed?
Listen, what I can tell you is that there's a job guarantee, and what I can tell you
So
also
there
is
is
that
a job guarantee, but it's for less than 100%.
For once, there was a link between the new funding that was given to create new jobs in Windsor to the Brampton plant.
So for anything
and
less,
that was really, really important because when you look at it, and we learned from 2009 what the Conservatives did at the time. At the time, there was no job guarantee. So we made sure that that was the case.
Are there executive compensation restrictions like there were in 2009? Was there equity given to the government like there was in 2009? I'm sorry, Minister, but you can't compare those. And plus, that was 15 years ago.
Well, no, I think that they were in
15 years ago.
You are comparing
and you've negotiated,
the same
your
type
government
of
negotiated.
Mr. Chair, the translation is not good because we have
Minister,
2 persons in the
your
same
government
time.
negotiated. It sounds like your government negotiated a $15 billion corporate subsidy to Stellantis without 100% jobs guarantee for the footprint of Stellantis at that time.
I think you're mixing
That's
up
what it
things.
sounds like.
To be frank, you're mixing up things, okay?
So
in 2009,
will you say what the
please,
percent of the? Will you say
Madam
what the
Chair,
percentage?
I just want to be able to answer.
Let her finish because your time is up, and I want everybody to have a shot here today.
Yeah, of course.
Minister.
In 2009, when you negotiated and shook hands with GM and Chrysler at the time, there was no job guarantees, and following that, the Oshawa plant was closed for GM. The Windsor plant for GM was closed. The Ford assembly plant following that was closed, and the Orion bus assembly plant in Mississauga was closed. It was devastation. And we were the first government to bring back jobs in the auto sector because we were able to create around 3,000 jobs in Windsor, and we were able to create around 3,000 jobs in St. Thomas. So it was really good investments.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
Sir, in your opening statement, you referred to steel, lumber, and other critical sectors. So steel, aluminum, autos, lumber. My understanding is that those tariffs that are imposed by the U.S. are done so under the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, Section 232, and then in the case of lumber, additionally, anti-dumping and countervailing duties. Is that correct? Do I have that right?
Well, yeah, it's a fact. There's also a presidential, an executive order for fentanyl, fentanyl-related tariffs under the IEEPA.
And those would be the IEEPA tariffs.
Exactly, but they're on pause.
Right. And so you're following the court case in the United States, Voss Selections, which is dealing with the IEEPA tariffs?
I am, but as MP, like you, because I'm not in charge of the negotiation.
So my understanding, and I hope this is yours as well, as we've just established, if the Supreme Court in the United States strikes down the IEEPA tariff, that will provide no relief to the industries I just mentioned. Is that correct? Because those tariffs are imposed under different laws in the U.S.
My job here is not to make any form of hypothesis. Neither.
It's not a hypothesis. It's just fact, and your job here is to speak on behalf of these industries. So I just want to know what's your understanding of that, and if you don't know, that's problematic. So,
Jacob,
yes
please,
or no?
Can you?
Minister, time to answer.
Yeah.
Please
So
if she answers, yeah.
I always answer.
respond.
I think that there's a lot of, as I said in French, many unpredictability linked to this administration. The U.S. Supreme Court decision is obviously something that the negotiating team is following, and I must say, the entire world is following.
Know what effect that will have.
Obviously, I won't, in front of this committee, develop any form of strategy or tactics that the government could take. I think that overall, we should work as one Team Canada to see what could be the impacts eventually. But I'm not here to make any form of, how can I say, analysis on what could be the impact on Canada or the world.
I guess I would suggest it's concerning that the industry minister has no analysis of what will happen if that's the case.
No, I'm sorry, but
then tell me what your view is then.
My job is to help the sectors here in Canada while the negotiating team is negotiating, and they have also their own strategies. And obviously the world is following what's going on in the U.S. every single day. We were following what was going on in Tennessee yesterday. We're following what's going on in Miami at the electoral. So we have a team, and I'm talking here I used to be in charge of foreign affairs, so I know that we have a fantastic embassy in the U.S.
Thank you,
and
Minister.
they're doing that.
I'm going to
work
move on
every
because I
single
have
day.
limited time. I
No, go ahead, go
appreciate
ahead.
that. Obviously, a large part of our bilateral trade is defense production with the United States. A few weeks ago, in response to questions about the F-35, you made comments that you said you didn't believe there had been enough jobs created or industrial benefits out of the F-35 program. You repeated that yesterday, actually. And then in response, Ambassador Hoekstra made some comments suggesting that that was an impediment to our trade negotiations. You, as you said, were foreign minister. You were at the very first party at Mar-a-Lago with the president. If anyone should have known that injecting uncertainty into the F-35 deal would piss off the Americans, I would have thought it was you. So my question is, why would you do that at the 11th hour? Why inject uncertainty into this negotiation?
A couple of things. I was not there at the first party at Mar-a-Lago, so your facts are wrong. Second, we took a decision following the imposition of tariffs against us, which I think Canadians support. My question to you is, do you support or not the decision of putting on pause the F-35 contract? Yes or no?
I'm asking you questions, not
Well,
the other way around.
I'm asking you questions. Goes both ways.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
actually.
it does.
Not at committee.
Well,
this
you
morning,
know, this is parliament. This is part of parliamentary committee.
I'm
This
just
is
asking
democracy.
you why you did that.
But Jacob, yes or no? Is that the position of the Conservative
okay.
Party? Yes or no?
At the Defense Committee this morning, the Minister of National Defense said the F-35 review was his file, and he said he was reviewing it, quote, at the request of the Prime Minister. Did the Prime Minister ask you to review that as well?
I'm in charge of industrial benefits for defense contract. That's the role of
So
industry.
you are reviewing the F-35 as well?
For industrial benefits, of course. Yes, absolutely. And that's why I think we didn't get enough and we need more. And I hope the Conservative Party is in favor of that. If not, you know, we want to know.
Very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to our guests for being here. Madam Minister, thank you for being here with us. I would like to talk to you about the American tariffs. I'm from Beauce. We're near the U.S., and we do a lot of business with the Americans, and we've been attacked very hard in steel and in wood. I made an economic trip in Montreal and in Beauce. I'm an entrepreneur. I understand the issues. I understand the concerns of these businesses. Madam Minister, none of these businesses wants funds from the Canadians. They just want to deal with the Americans. Yes, I understand. I've met a lot of entrepreneurs, and I understand the situation currently, and I can see it because I also make visits everywhere, especially through Quebec, because I'm in charge of regional economic development in Quebec, but also all over the country. And one thing is clear. When I meet people in the affected sectors, I know that there is an anxiety, but I know that they also know that the American president and the American administration is very unpredictable. And they know that we're there to help them to pivot, because regardless of what might happen, there can always be unpredictability, uncertainty. And we know that in business, what is the most frustrating is risk management. And geopolitical risk is currently omnipresent. And that's why we offer help, we offer some equity, and we try and control what we can control. So I've met several entrepreneurs in Beauce. They have told me they want to be able to sell more in Canada and the rest of Canada, and also to France and to the European Union. But you know, you can't pivot. You can't do that in 2 days or 2 years even. I know that. And I know that Beauce is on the American border, so there's a very high dependence on the American market. But we will work with those entrepreneurs to go to other markets. So in terms of programs like Buy Canadian, all that, you have to have a business that does about $2 million to make business. So why do you only encourage the large factories? $2 million? It's a major industry, but it's still a small or large industry. Ask those questions to the Chamber of Commerce. So why do the smaller ones not have access to that program? So I'd be happy to work with you, Jason, to see if there are businesses in particular that are having problems. We can find solutions in these sectors that are hit by tariffs. These are there are many of these industries, so I think you know the regions. You come to both from time to time. I'll take as an example the center of Quebec or Chaudière-Appalaches and Saguenay. I know those people. In addition to American tariffs, there's one other thing they talk about constantly. It's labor. They don't have enough labor. We have the lowest unemployment rate in Canada. We proposed renewing the temporary foreign worker proportion below 5.5%. There's something in the budget that hasn't been explained. They're just waiting for you to explain what's happening there, and it's up to you to control that. The Prime Minister is certainly aware of this. He's working with the businesses that are involved. I've heard about this concern in the regions also when I was in the rural regions. And I hope we can work with the Conservative Party. When the opposition leader came, he said he was against temporary foreign workers. So people were shocked. So 5.5% unemployment. I don't want to play politics here, but we need those people. So I'm just asking you, when can we have the answer that we can give to our businesses? My goal is to be able to work with you, with colleagues, so that it can happen, because I know that it's important. I hear it when I go in Trois-Rivières in Quebec. I was in Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean on several occasions, because it's a region that's been strongly affected because of aluminum. I have friends and acquaintances who are in business, and I hear about it, and we're in the work of developing solutions, and we'll work at this. But it's very dangerous to politicize the file of temporary foreign workers, and I find it really too bad that the leader of the opposition did this.